the scholarship because I love talking about our mission at Sam Ministries and what we do. And it's just helping the homeless has really become such a passion of mine, and I've learned so much. I think there's a lot of stigma that exists around the homeless community, not just in San Antonio, but everywhere. And I think there's a lot of myths that exist. And so I really see myself first and foremost as an educator. A lot of our volunteers who are coming in may not know very much about the homeless community or the unique challenges that they face. So I feel like it's my responsibility to kind of educate them on what our families are going through. The building where I am officed at, we have several locations, but where most of our volunteers serve at and where I'm officed out of is our Transitional Living and Learning Center. So this is a facility that houses up to 40 families. We are a family-only facility. And so at any given time, we have between 100 to 150 people living on campus. And so we are in a building that used to be a church and convent. So our residents stay upstairs and they stay in dorm style rooms. And then our first floor is community spaces. And that's really where our volunteers help out. And every family that comes in here has a unique story. We've had families who have come in where the adults may have, less than a high school education. And we also have adults who come in with a master's level education. And so just letting people know that this can happen to anybody. It doesn't matter what your education is, what your job is. You could be very well off for 10, 20 years, and then, life just hits you and things change really quickly. So that's really been, kind of my goal here is just to help bring our community together and let them know that we really are a community. Our volunteers, our staff, and our residents. Our volunteers and our staff members aren't here just to serve our residents, but they're here to build community with them and really grow alongside them. This is actually a little bit bittersweet because I have been with Sam Ministries for 2.5 years, and today is actually my very last day with the organization. And so I'm actually presenting from my office on my last day. So I'm actually going to be just taking some time off to focus on school and look for a new opportunity, but I couldn't be more grateful for what I've learned, and it's definitely inspired what I want to do in my career in the future. I have loved working with volunteers. So in my next step, I see myself working for another organization and working with more volunteers and just trying to bring people together. Thank you so much for listening to me today.
Mary Ann, such an inspiring message, and thank you for your service at Sam Ministries. The next presenter we're going to have is Sienna Palacio, and she submitted a poster under research. She is a mechanical engineering major, and her title of her poster is The Impact of Consumerism on Recycled Waste Generation.
One second, just getting my slides arranged. So hi again, my name is Sienna Palacio, and today I'll be presenting on the impact of waste generation on consumerism. And so one of the big focuses on this presentation is recycling. And why it's important is that we have a large influx of waste that is being landfilled. So often enough, the waste that is generated does not reach its proper generation. So your curbside trash and also your curbside recyclables often don't make it to the recycling plants and to be properly reused. Also, our current purchasing and recycling practices are unable to meet the needs of the public. As we live in a fast-paced culture, our society has grown accustomed to the instant gratification of receiving our goods the moment we purchase them and using them immediately and discarding them so we can attain a new good or product. The cycle continues until we have more than we could ever want, and that we have to discard even more products to make room for what is considered superior or new. Consumerism, especially excessive consumerism, leads to an exponential increase in the waste generation per capita. which in turn is also rapidly increasing the total amount of waste generated. This accelerated consumerism is leading to a disposable trend in our culture. It is starting to place a heavy focus on goods that are single use and easily available for disposal. Disposable culture leads to an increase of waste accumulation as they see most products as waste rather than reusable or recyclable. Today, we're going to examine how consumer culture is affecting waste management practices in the United States. This culture is leading to an increase in waste generation nationwide that the current recycling and waste management centers cannot handle. This increase in waste is a byproduct of consumerism. Due to the lack of adequate recycling/waste disposal facilities, waste that is generated may not reach its proper destination. And as a result, our current purchasing and recycling practices are unable to meet the needs of the public. And so consumerism. One of the things that affects consumerism and our recycling habits is our culture. How do we view recycling? More or less, it's our attitude and our community attitude on our recycling practices. So if your neighbors hold high standards for recycling, they constantly put their recyclables out on the curb and they ensure that they're doing more recycling than waste, than throwing things away, that's going to encourage you to recycle more. But on the other hand, if your peers don't view recycling to really a high standard or as a priority, you'll be less likely to recycle. And additionally, it's about access to recycling. Not every neighborhood and not every culture and community has access to properly recycling. If we were able to have more recycling containers or recycling easily available, it would possibly increase the value of recycling in our culture. Additionally, we have the appeal of values. These are values that we purchase our products from and that we use, uphold our values on recycling and just on our eco policies. One of the biggest things that comes from these companies that are trying to appeal to our ethics and our values is greenwashing. And greenwashing is the use of misinformation to claim that their product has a positive impact on the environment. And often enough, this is not true. These products are quote unquote eco-friendly, have not gone through the proper certification, whether they are to be carbon neutral or actually truly recyclable at universally available waste management facilities. And often enough, these recyclables that are able to be ready to be recycled can't be recycled at every waste management facility due to the ubiquitous amount of plastics and different bioplastics available on the market. And in regards to bioplastics and biodegradable products and bioplastics can only decompose and essentially have a positive impact on the environment only in certain conditions. And often enough, these conditions can't be replicated by a waste management facility. So therefore, they end up sitting in our landfills longer than we have intended. Additionally, our waste management facilities. Do we have the right tools to handle our waste? As said before, for certain waste products, there are specified facilities and environments that a product must be placed in to properly reach its end life and to be properly recycled. As stated by the Waste Management, which is a big national-wide waste management facility, not all products with recycling arrows can be recycled by a material recovery facility or curbside recycling. Because there's a vast diversity in plastics, a single recycling facility is not equipped to recycle all plastics that are generated. Additionally, the products must be properly cleaned and to be properly recycled. If a product has been placed in a recycling bin that has been contaminated, it may result in the entirety of the whole bin to be thrown away and sent to the landfills. It's because of this and other rules about recycling that recyclables set out in the recycling bins may ultimately be landfilled, which just increases the amount of landfill waste per year. For many Americans, these rules make it more difficult to recycle, which will only add to the factors that discourage the average person from recycling. And aside from regular curbside recycling, there are numerous recyclables that cannot be recycled due to proper recycling facilities or region. So even though your state or region may offer recycling facilities, personally, they just may not have the space to accommodate for such large amount of recyclables. And additionally, they just don't have the tools and the equipment to properly recycle these products. And that ends up in the landfills. In the United States, we have a recycling rate of about 28%, while we can recycle up to approximately 80% of what we throw away. This is a really big statistic, and it is kind of the focus of my project. There's so many products that we use every day that can be recycled, especially with my focus being on plastic, because plastic products are meant to be long lasting and can help in the air and are long lasting and then can be reused multiple times over and over. So in the graph shown up on the screen, you can see that this is the 2018 products. So of all products that were sent to the waste management facilities, the most common products that you could see are containers and packaging, which probably you would find in your food to go containers or even in your Amazon packages. Durable goods, which are goods that you can continue to use and have no need to be in a landfill. And then the second largest sector being food waste. And these are this is just to reflect the actual magnitude of our waste generation problem, how much of these goods that we're sending to the landfills each and every year. And this is additional national data that has been generated, and I have set up just to actually reflect the magnitude of our landfill problem. So on the chart on the left, you can see that it is representing the waste generation, the total waste generation per each category or common recyclable, the amount landfilled, and the amount recycled. As you can see for paper and paperboard, it is the most amount of waste. It has the most amount of waste that's been generated, but it actually has the highest amount of waste that is being recycled. In comparison, where you can see plastics have also a high amount of waste that is generated, but also an extremely high amount of waste that is being landfilled. And then pretty much for all the other common recyclables, that standard holds true. On the chart on the right, you can see the end life percentages, which represents the amount of percentage of waste generation and where it ends up at the end of its life. So for most products, less than half of the products that are generated are actually sent, reused, or properly disposed of, and most of it ends up in landfill as generation. And these are also figures that are representative of 2018. So it gives us a glimpse of what how we're moving, what direction we're moving in. So this graph above is a chart that I have generated, and it shows the recycling trend over 60 years for paper, cardboard, glass, and plastics in generation, and also the percentage of these materials that are being recycled over the course of the 60 years. So as you can see, paper and cardboard has always had a high generation, but it also has continued to have a high recycling rate. As you can see, it has continued over the past 16 years and is currently plateauing as we enter into the 20s. Around the 1970s and the 1980s, we see the emergence of plastic as it becomes a popular use of a product. And as we see with the trend in yellow, it hasn't been, the recycling rate has remained relatively low and has remained very low up into the 10s and is currently moving that way into the 20s. It remains at a recycling rate of about 9% per each year. And then additionally for glass, it's also plateauing as we go into the late 10s and into the 20s. And we're just seeing with this graph is that we are plateauing. We're generating more waste, and we're generating more of these products that are ending up in our waste management facilities, but the amount that we're recycling each year is not increasing in proportion to the amount of waste that we're generating each and every year. So this graph is also another 60-year trend that I have generated, and it shows the amount of waste that we are generating each year and the amount that we are recycling and the amount that we are landfilling. So as you can see, the total trend of waste has been increasing over the last 60 years. And as you can see, as we get towards the 2020s, there's been a serious uptick, a serious increase in the amount of waste that we're generating. But as you can see, the amount of recycling is has plateaued as we came into the new century and is relatively staying the same, as well as we can see the amount of landfill that is being generated is starting to increase as we've seen increase in the amount of total waste that is being generated. So what does this mean? That our waste generation is starting to increase as an exponential rate. And this is as a result that we don't have the proper facilities to meet our needs for waste. One of the things that can be noted about the previous graph is that starting in 2018, the waste management facilities and the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, actually started considering food waste as total waste generation, which is different than in the previous 60 years that has been measured. So what we're starting to see is that our food waste is starting to kind of push us over the edge, and we're just seeing an increase of waste, which is also reflected in the 2018 municipal waste products, which you can see that food takes up about 22% of the amount of waste. Our waste problems expand with our high generation rates. We just are simply generating too much waste. But one of the most important things to take away from the data that has been represented is that our personal recycling has a marginal impact on the decreasing amount of waste that's being generated. Now, I know that there's been a very big and heavy movement in focusing on recycling and also focusing on the importance of taking care of our planet. The responsibility has been placed on the people in making sure that they are doing every bit of their part in recycling and making sure that all goods are able to be recycled in general. But personally, just with the policies that are in place at waste management facilities and also the amount of waste management facilities and recycling facilities within a state vary. For example, in the state of Mississippi, there are only 2 recycling management facilities in the state. And the rest are also responsible for taking care of construction, water, radioactive materials. So in a state like Mississippi and in the state, we can only see how that would affect nationwide. Nationally, there isn't a lot of recycling management facilities, and there's not a lot of manpower in helping and making sure that our recycles and goods are able to be properly recyclable. So going forward, it's really important to manage the amount of waste that we are producing and in just trying to limit creating additional waste, whether that is opting for not recyclable containers, but reusable containers, good old Tupperware, and using good and strong durable goods. But it's also most important to reflect on the self and know that every effort that is being taken to limit the amount of waste that is in our environment is still a positive effort. Thank you for letting me share my presentation with you today, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. That was so informative. I loved it. Thank you, Sienna. Our next presenter is Ashley's son, Gabriel. She submitted an experience poster. She is a business administration major, and the title of her poster is Administrative Assistant.
Hi, good morning. Let me just share my screen. Okay, so my poster is over my experience and for working for FNS Flooring. So this FNS Flooring is a tile company owned by Osela Alonso and his son. I have been working there for over a year now. Basically, they install tile, wall tile, floor tile. Recently, we've been expanding into other services such as carpet, rubber base. My supervisor, Osela Alonso, he's one of the few people in Texas to be a certified tile installer. So it makes us even more trustworthy. Over the years, we have built long-term partnerships all over San Antonio. We have worked under corporate floors, Spectra, commercial services. We have also worked at Microsoft, Amazon, USAA, Chosa, Valero, and there's so many more places we've worked at. My responsibility, I am part of the admin department. So basically, I just keep everything organized. I help keep everything organized. I manage their files. I write their checks. I submit their labor. There's, in certain cases, I go to the job sites and check what needs to be done, what our guys missed. I take pictures to make sure to send it back to my boss. And so I don't really deal with people. I'm more on the computer, but sometimes whenever I do, the most that I'll deal with people is whenever I have to call and order material, but that'll be about it. So working here, I have learned so many things. I wasn't able to write an email before. I didn't have good vocabulary. I've extended my vocabulary. I've learned so many new things. I learned how to manage my time correctly, and this has helped me so much with school as well. Before, I would do everything last minute. I was such a procrastinator. I would not even turn things in because I wouldn't do it on time. And now I've learned that managing my time is so important. Being organized is such an important thing, and it will help you so much in the long run. Not just for me, but for my boss and for our workers and for the people who we're working for. Like, it just helps so much. I chose to work for FNS Flooring because I really liked how they worked. I really liked that they gave me the opportunity to grow within the company. Before this, I was already in school and I was already in business. I was majoring in business already, but I wasn't really interested in it. I just signed up, and after this, my love for it grew. Like, now I really do want to be in it. I love learning about it. I love learning new ways to manage my time, to organize things, just little things. I just love all of that. And before, I would think this is boring, but now I really like it. I find it interesting, and I know that it helps me. Like I mentioned, I have been working for them over a year, and they're so easy to work with, and they have taught me so many things. My Osela Alonso, the senior, he actually majored in business administration, so he has helped me so much. Everything, we kind of help each other. He teaches me his old ways, how he was taught, and I'm teaching him how I'm learning and the things they have taught me in school. And so we just help each other out, and we what's the word? I forgot, sorry. We pretty much, we put everything to practice. Everything that he has learned and that I'm learning, I help him as well. So that's a really good thing. So I just really wanted my acknowledgements. I had mentioned Osela Alonso Jr. I really wanted to acknowledge him because he has been so patient with me. He has helped me so much. Everything he has learned, he has taught me as well. And I know sometimes it could get frustrating, and people can be really impatient, but he has had so much patience with me, and he, like I said, he has taught me so much. So really grateful for that, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity, because another benefit is that I work from home. So I don't, with this whole COVID thing, I don't have to worry about going out or doing catching COVID, or so it's really nice, and I really appreciate them. So yeah, thank you so much for giving me this time to present my poster.
Ashley, thank you so much. And that is the goal. We love to see our students grow in the experiences that they participate. And we look forward to seeing you grow even more, Ashley. That concludes our live portion of our presentations. We do have some pre-recorded submissions from our student presenters. The next presenters are going to be a part of a group. Raul Flores, who is a mechanical engineer, Carol Grimes, who's a mechanical engineering student, Jesse Clements, who is an electrical engineering student, Christian Heinen, who's a mechanical engineering student, and Edher Nava, who's a mechanical engineering student. They put together a presentation for their 2021 prototype hydrogen fuel cell vehicle research project. And they submitted for the research portion. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you can see their presentations.
Sabrina, could you unmute your audio? The video isn't, you can't hear the audio on the video.
My apologies, my apologies.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Raul Flores. I'm with the 2021 SAC Motorsport Group. Our research project is over prototyping a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle to compete in the Shell Eco Marathon Americas competition. This competition was created in 2007 for STEM students, both on the high school and collegiate level, located in Central, South, and North Americas. SAC Motorsports has competed in this competition since 2017, with the exception of the year 2020 as our world-style pandemic, which brought great devastation and a lot of difficulty for us as students, as we had no campus access, no access to tools and resources, which brought us limited capabilities. But that didn't stop us. We kept working and started working virtually via Zoom, got the project started. Shortly thereafter, we were granted limited access in the campus garage. As you can see here in figure 1, our team completed our 2021 SEMA virtual technical inspection using the 2019 Odyssey vehicle design. Now for our design, we like to see some reduction in weight as one of our biggest goals. Fuel efficiency is another one of our goals. We are going to convert our brake style system from a cable style to hydraulic style. We'd like to see an efficient steering system and efficient quick release wheel system. Now, our frame design will be based off a magnesium alloy. The 2019 Odyssey is a honeycomb Nomex composite material. Strong, it's light, but it does flex when the vehicle drives. So we want to see increased frame strength, rigidity, stiffness, but also maintaining a lightweight. So we chose a magnesium alloy. Our vehicle's shell will be cast with the foam mold, and then it'll be made out of a carbon fiber fiberglass material. Brake system will be converted from cable style to hydraulic style. Our steering system will be emphasized on a go-kart style steering system, which is a simplistic design, a minimal use of materials, and our wheel system will be a center cap, quick release, efficient way of getting these tires off. If I need to do movements behind that wheel, it'd be easy. Unscrew, unclick, and that wheel is off. Now we're working efficiently, and we can get that wheel back on efficiently and safely. My emphasis on this project and direction that I was appointed to was the brake system. System was there was an updated requirement by Shell Eco Marathon that we needed to change our brakes from cable to hydraulic. So I selected the Hayes Radar hydraulic brake system paired with a Type A brake booster. Now this brake booster acts as a Y splitter. The driver controls one brake pedal, which splits off and controls two wheels. And that Type A brake booster, at any given time, if we need to make a maintenance adjustment and we need to increase our brake pressure, we just screw down that Type A splitter and our stopping power increases. And with that being said, we can expect to see more braking efficiency, which allows for increase in safety for the driver as well and those around them while they're on the track. Some expectations that we can hope for with our frame design, our brake design and choice, our steering system with its simplistic and efficiency, and our wheel design and our go-kart style spindle system, to see an increase in structure strength, an increase in steering consistency, handling, wheel alignment, and weight reduction. One of the biggest goals and expectations that we hope to see come out of this is our fuel efficiency for this vehicle. During this time, I'd like to give a big thanks to the Alamo Colleges, Professor and Census Grant Director, Dr. Barbara Knox, Faculty Advisor, Professor Alfred Alanis, Mesa Center Senior Student Advisor Success Advisor D. Dixon, Dean of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Conrad Kruger, Mesa Center Lab Technician Benjamin Uresti, Alamo Colleges Facility Superintendent David Ortega, Senior Multimedia Specialist Sean Ryan, Director, San Antonio College Risk Management, Janie Johnson. And again, thank you Alamo Colleges, thank you San Antonio Colleges for presenting me this opportunity. Thank you.
Fuel efficient, sustainable vehicles. Our team's research is into a hydrogen fuel cell powered prototype vehicle. In February 2021, our team met for the first time on Zoom. Due to COVID restrictions, we met virtually for a month until we were granted access to the San Antonio College campus. However, we were only permitted to work outside at that time and met in the parking garage. It is here that we met the 2019 team's Odyssey vehicle. We used Odyssey to compete in the Shell Eco Marathon virtual technical inspection. This allowed us to get hands-on with the vehicle and identify areas in which we wish to improve. A large component of fuel efficiency is aerodynamics. We observed when a driver sat in the vehicle, the frame flexed. We also noticed that the outer shell of the vehicle was not rigid. We suspected that the flexing of the frame and the lack of structure in the outer shell would reduce aerodynamics of the vehicle and fuel efficiency. We began work on preliminary sketches for a new frame and outer shell. And at the end of April, we were granted access to on-campus buildings and were able to enter the Mesa lab. We initially planned on using a magnesium alloy material for the frame due to the light weight of the material. However, with the manufacturer and supply chain disruptions due to COVID-19, we found that the material was either out of stock or exceeded our budget. We decided to use aluminum tubing as it was more readily available and affordable. The 2019 Odyssey did not utilize a structured frame, and we anticipate that the aluminum frame will alleviate the flexing issue. The other component that we identified as a potential aerodynamics issue, and what I took particular interest in, is the vehicle's outer shell. I had noticed that not only did it lack structure and was showing wear and tear, it lacked user friendliness. Meaning when we were working on the virtual technical inspection, we noticed that it was hard to attach the shell to the vehicle body. The system used on the Odyssey is bolts and wing nuts. The bolt is on the vehicle itself. The shell has holes that should fit onto the bolts, and then a wing nut holds it all together. In practice, we found that the holes on the shell did not meet up with the
bolts on the body. I plan on using a quarter turn fastener system with the new vehicle. These types of fasteners are used in racing vehicles, and this is an example of a quarter turn fastener similar to what we will be using on the vehicle. To address the lack of structure, a system of 3D printed ribs will be designed. The ribbing will act like a skeleton inside the shell and add stability without adding much weight. I anticipate that the added structure will keep the shell from flexing when the vehicle is in motion, increasing the aerodynamics and fuel efficiency. Looking to the upcoming fall semester, we anticipate the frame design and frame will be completed, and we will begin work on the final outer shell design. Once we finalize an inventor design for the shell, we will use 2-inch thick foam insulation board to make a mold. Sections will be cut using a hot wire device. The prior team had made a hot wire using nichrome wire, commonly used in vape coils, and running electricity through it. I designed 2 new hot wire cutting tools this summer, one to be used for making deep cuts in the material and the other to make smaller, more honing cuts. This is one of my test pieces of foam insulation material. Once the mold is made, we'll be able to manufacture the shell out of either carbon fiber or fiberglass material. We hope that our research can be utilized by future teams to design an urban concept vehicle. Shell Eco Marathon defines the urban concept class as a vehicle that will hold a passenger as well as a driver and follow street legality guidelines. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Jesse Clemens, and I'm an electrical engineering major at San Antonio College and a member of the SAC Motorsports team. Our team decided to use the existing Odyssey vehicle that was participated in previous events as a platform and improve its functionality versus developing a new vehicle from scratch, which would have been unrealistic expectations. We felt this to be the best approach considering limited time constraints from COVID-19 mandates. My role was to research comparisons between a 500 watt and a 1000 watt fuel cell and its safety measures that were implemented to the existing Odyssey vehicle for participation in the upcoming tournament. And by comparing the 1000 watt cell on the vehicle against the 500 watt cell, we found that side-by-side manufacturer specifications suggested factors such as weight, along with other outputs from the fuel cell to make the 500 watt to be the more efficient choice. However, the research is ongoing and has not been completed. And these are just initial observations. Now, a hydrogen fuel cell is a power source similar to a battery. It's a device that uses an electrochemical reaction to convert energy stored in molecules, turning it into electricity. The electricity is produced and used to power our team's vehicle. And hot air, clean water, and electricity are the byproducts of hydrogen fuel cells. So it makes it fully sustainable and it's a zero emission source of power. The hydrogen fuel cell on the car was found to be safe and its current location to be optimal. A firewall divides the electrical components and the driver, and the system features a hydrogen sensor that recognizes a potential short circuit in the unit, which allows continuous power in the event of a failure in the mechanism. The fuel cell functions as hydrogen gas enters the channel within the device, and molecules of hydrogen create a chemical reaction with a catalyst that separates it into positive proton ions and negative electrons. Now, the positive proton ions combine with oxygen and they turn into water and steam and are the byproduct, while the electrons are negatively charged and they turn into the electricity through a circuit within the fuel cell. Now, the electricity turns a motor that we've placed in the back of the vehicle, and at the tip of the motor is a sprocket, and the wheel is connected with the sprocket. So as this spindle is turning, the wheel is turning with it, which gives the vehicle power, and it propels it forward in this manner. So there's a porous electrolyte membrane within the fuel cell where the membranes, I mean, where the cells pass through, the molecules pass through. So hydrogen is the most abundant element on Earth. It's found all around us. It's used in various industries, and it was first discovered in the 1800s by a physicist who took oxygen and hydrogen, and he combined them with an electrode, and he got power. But the power at the time was a very insignificant amount of power, so he didn't think much of it at the time. And it wasn't until the 1900s where someone else came along and used a similar process and was able to generate enough power to actually function a welding device. Now, at the time, a lot's changed since then. We now know that hydrogen is a better fuel alternative than gasoline, obviously, because it doesn't leave a carbon footprint whatsoever. And the fuel cell, its byproducts are water and steam. So it's a much better choice over carbon monoxide, which is deadly to humans. So in conclusion of my presentation, it should be noted that there's potentially a great future with hydrogen fuel cells in the automotive industry particularly. An interview with 1,000 automotive executives and their representatives suggest it could lead the way in developing a sustainable fuel alternative, because 78% of those interviewed agreed that more exploration is needed and that it has a bright future within the industry. Thank you all for giving me the opportunity to present my presentation and talk about my abstract and my research on hydrogen fuel cells. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me about my presentation or my poster. And thank you again.
Hello, my name is Christian Heinen, and I am a member of SAC Motorsport. I am currently studying mechanical engineering, and I'm transferring to UTSA in the fall. I'm going to talk to you about my role on the SAC Motorsport team. My role was to design and model the new frame that is lighter and stronger. This role helped me understand the design process, but I'll talk more about that later. Odyssey is the name of SAC's third car, a hydrogen fuel cell powered car designed by SAC Motorsport members in 2019 to compete in the Shell Eco Marathon. The Shell Eco Marathon is a showcasing of engineering schools who each design and build the car using a propulsion method like gasoline, lithium-ion batteries, or hydrogen fuel cell, in which the goal is to have the most fuel-efficient vehicle. The current team originally meant to give Odyssey an upgrade, but upon further inspection, due to these three problems, the team decided that redesigning the car would be a better solution to solve all of these problems. One, improper mounting of the shells of the frame. Two, excess material used throughout the frame, adding extra weight that could be removed. And three, a flexing problem due to the inability of the material to support the weight of the driver, all of these affecting fuel efficiency. The shell for Odyssey didn't quite fit exactly right, where one side of the shell hung lower than others, and without proper support for the shell on the frame, the holes didn't line up, which would let air into the cabin, which would slow the car down. Odyssey also used a fiberglass composite floor that ran across this whole span of the bottom of the car, weighing in at about 22 pounds. A lot of material on this floor was not being used to stand on or anything else, which could be classified as excess material that could then be shed in order to save some weight. Rather than reinforcing the old material with aluminum L brackets and adding more materials or weight, the team decided that creating a frame skeleton using all-light super magnesium is the way we wanted to go. My role led me to research super magnesium to make sure that it was suitable for the project that Motorsports had. Magnesium is the most common structural material used today, with it being 75% lighter than steel and 33% lighter than aluminum. It makes magnesium a prime candidate. To give you an idea of the density of aluminum versus magnesium, aluminum is 2.7 grams per centimeter cubed, while magnesium is 1.8 grams per centimeter cubed. So a difference of 0.9 grams per centimeter cubed really adds up. I modeled the frame using Autodesk Inventor, a 3D modeling software with a program within Inventor called Frame Generator, which would take the 3D drawing I created using lines and replacing them with a metal tubing profile, where I could mix and match possible sizes for the frame. To maximize rigidity, while also saving as much weight as possible, I ended up using two profiles, one rectangular and one square tubing to use to weld together and create our frame. 2 inch by 1 inch by 1/8 of an inch for the outer shape of the frame, and 1 inch by 1 inch by 1/16 for the supports within the outer shape of the frame. The design process I approached creating the frame taught me a lot of all of what goes into itself. I went through 4 or 5 different models before reaching a final model that still ended up with one final tweak. There was a lot of, here is my design, it would be discussed, I would change it according to the discussion, come back and repeat that process. This led me to decide to use existing parts to save time. The frame was now designed, but how the back wheel mounts to the frame is still not figured out. I ended up using a swing arm, which is apart from a rear end of a bike where one can change the tire out easily for 2 main reasons. Odyssey had a complicated process to remove the back wheel, so this would be simplifying that process. 2, figuring out how to mount the swing arm to the frame would save time and increase sustainability. One of the goals of Shell Eco Marathon, and a personal goal of mine, is sustainability. Rather than creating more parts from scratch, there is a whole world of parts that can be upcycled and used. Due to the supply issues of magnesium, tubing was very hard to come across. Either the supplier didn't have the right profile sizes, the material was very expensive, or the shipping would take a long time to be received. So the team chose the next best thing, which was aluminum 6063. Moving forward, the team is looking to practice welding on steel to prepare to weld the aluminum frame together. I'm looking forward to the process in the fall and all that it has in store. Thank you so much.
Hey guys, my name is Adair Nava. I am a mechanical engineering student. I am also part of the SAC Motorsport team, and I have been assigned the task of improving the steering system. Previous teams have done an incredible job with increasing efficiency, such as the team of 2019, which decreased the weight of a vehicle from about 170 pounds to 123 pounds. Those are some incredible feats of teams in the past. The current team first met in the spring of 2021, and what we realized was there were a few major areas that could use improvement on the vehicle to increase total efficiency. Among these areas include a structurally weak frame that is made out of a honeycomb fiberglass material that bends whenever the driver is in the cockpit. And this is not good because it reduces weight of the wheels on the ground, helping to reduce efficiency. Another area is the shell of the vehicle, which is very poorly fastened onto the frame. And this allows it the freedom to move around as the vehicle is moving forward, increasing the drag of the vehicle. And that's not good because we aim to have a goal of greater aerodynamics. Another area that is weak is the steering system, which is overly complicated and way too heavy for its application. The current vehicle had a steering system that was made for a go-kart, and those need very heavy applications because of the stress that they endure. Our particular application does not need such a heavy system. So what we decided to do for the frame is use aluminum material, which will enhance the sustainability and strength of the and strength of the frame. That way, when the driver sits in the cockpit, it no longer bends. As far as the shell goes, we decided to use quarter turn fasteners to secure it in place. That way it doesn't rubble around while the vehicle is moving forward, increasing the aerodynamics of the vehicle. Another major area that was improved was a redesign of the steering system with the goal of being lightweight, less complex, and the addition of suspension. It is incredibly important that we added suspension to the vehicle because that was the major contributing factor to misalignment issues. For example, if the vehicle is going forward and there is a tire slightly pointed in another direction, this decreases efficiency because as the vehicle is trying to move forward, one tire is aiming towards a different direction. So a total redesign of the steering system allowed us to convert from a heavy go-kart rack and pinion system to a lighter weight pivot point system, which allowed us to go from steel to aluminum. And the pivot point system is just a plate attached to some tie rods that go to the wheel that allow it to turn just like this, allowing the driver to turn less frequently. So with a total redesign of the steering system, we were also able to redesign the spindles, which are the components you see here at the bottom. The top one is the totally redesigned spindles, which, as you can see, have way less components, is made out of aluminum and less complex. The bottom spindle is from the 2019 team, and it is very complex, has a lot of material, and is made out of very heavy steel. So we were able to reduce the total weight of that. So in conclusion, we aim to increase the total efficiency by 10%, which will take us from 1,383 miles per gallon equivalent to 1,414 miles per gallon equivalent to that of gasoline. In the future, we aim to shoot for a goal of having a more narrow focus on the electronics of the vehicle, which will also help us increase total efficiency. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to listen. And if you have any further questions, I will find a way to put my email somewhere. Thank you guys again so much.
All right, that was wonderful. Wonderful from our motorsport team. We're going to have our next presentation from Alejandro Alvarez Riojas, and he submitted a creative poster, and the title of his poster is The Untitled Dress Shirt.
Hi, my name is Alejandro Alvarez Riojas, and this is my project. It's called The Untitled Dress Shirt, and it's named after my favorite song by The Cure. And it's not really meant to provoke deep thought. Like, I'm sure it looks underwhelming on camera, but it was meant to just put all my thoughts onto something, stuff that I'm thinking of a lot or stuff that I see a lot. And go out to my comfort zone while doing it. So I typically work with like circuit boards, lights, sound, like that kind of thing. And I thought doing this was a nice way to get outside the comfort zone. And the way I did all the words, by the way, was I saw stuff that I liked around my life, or stuff that people say. Like my friend, she always says, "That's hot." It's not funny, it's just, I think it's neat. And then it's got like an order for a chicken and beef plate. It's got a price. That's neat. And it's got emotional stuff. So depending on like what was funny and what I thought was like just like emotional, I made emotional stuff smaller, funny stuff bigger, just because I thought the idea of just adding stuff that was important to me smaller, because only I would know it was there. I thought that was a neat concept. And I did it by creating a Google Doc, typing out all this stuff, and then what do you call it? typing a lot, changing the font to whatever funky font there was. I tried not to like duplicate any fonts that I used before. So hopefully, if I was right, they're all different, even though I'm pretty sure some of them like really, they're pretty similar. But and then which ones I liked, I made bigger or not, bigger or smaller. And then once I was done with like a page, I printed out. I mean, I converted to a PNG, flipped the PNG so it was backwards, like the words, and then I put it back on a Google Doc and print it out. And then I put it over the shirt and then use acetone, like nail polish remover, and then put it on there and then transfer the words so it was right way facing when it's on the shirt. And then from there, I'd use a syringe with black puffy paint in it to mark where it was, kind of like the general outline, and then fill it in. So everything on here, if you touch it, it's got kind of like a weird texture to it, kind of like bumpy. So yeah, it was just, that's it. It's not very complex. It's not supposed to provoke a lot of deep thought. It was just stuff that I liked and an idea I had in my head. I'm pretty sure it's not an original idea. I'm sure you could find something like this online. And I just think the idea of doing something so personal and intricate was fun. You know, it wasn't, I'm not gonna sell it because it's mine. It wouldn't mean anything to anyone else. So yeah, I know my presentation was a bit of a mess here and probably the video too. But the whole idea of the shirt is it's supposed to convey like my thoughts or like a lot of common stuff in my life, you know? It wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't meant for anything else. It's just a shirt that I really like and one that I put a lot of effort into. And I hope people who see it like it. I know it looks underwhelming on camera, which kind of sucks, but it means a lot to me. And I like the idea of how it looks like a body tattoo, I guess. You know, people like tattoo their entire body. I'm too scared to. This is a great alternative. So yeah, and an example of stuff I put on it was I put Disintegration is the best album ever. That's an album by The Cure. That was set on South Park, that quote. And on the back, it has my subway order because I figured why not? If I ever get dementia, now I know what I liked. And then look, it's got Adam Sandler. I think it's in Comic Sans font, just because I figured why not. And where did I leave my phone? I lose my phone a lot. I just thought it would run a nice touch if I added it. So all this stuff, it's not really for anything. It's mostly just for me, you know? It's got a bunch of nerdy stuff on it, like Amazing Fantasy 15. It's got some dumb quotes that me and my friends say a lot. And it has like Shakespeare on it somewhere. I don't know where, but it was just a quote I liked about him. And then some English stuff, because I was really big into English, I guess, around that time. And then I don't know, it's just, once I'm done with it, I plan to wear it more, obviously, but at the moment, I think it needs a lot more work. And I'm hoping to add a lot more to it over the course of the year. And then whatever I see over that time, I'll add. So until then, thank you for listening. Sorry if this is a mess.
I love that. Alejandro did such a creative poster, and his t-shirt is amazing. The next person that we're going to show their presentation is Dulce Celea Cordell, who submitted an experience poster, and the title of her poster is RN Case Managers.
Good morning. My name is Dulce. I am a registered nurse. I graduated from San Antonio College in 2008. I also graduated first as an LPN from St. Philip's College. And I'm working on my ESN because I would like to become a family nurse practitioner in the future to be able to take care of my own patients. On the last 7 years, I worked as an RN case manager for Superior Health Plans. So I'm going to share a little bit of my experience with you all. And let me share my screen so you can see what I'm talking about. the poster I created for this showcase. I'm really excited to be here. Let's see. Okay, hope you can see it. So RN case managers, I work for Superior Health Plan. Superior Health Plan is an insurance company that provides services for 1.3 million of Texas residents. It was created in 1999 in El Paso, and it now serves over 250 counties and has 10 offices in Texas. Superior Health Plan's its goal is to transform the health of the community one person at a time. So we as nurses assess the members, we visit them where they are in a hospital, nursing home, or at home to assess them in a holistic way. We talk to them, we assess them, talk to the families to check all the relationships or support persons. And after that, we can be able to provide the needs they may lack of. The most common one is medical equipment. Superior Health Plans provide services from medical equipment prescriptions. We provide therapy like speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, nursing services, as you can see when the nurse goes and visit them and assess them, check the vital signs for sugars or any other health issues they may have. We also provide, if they need dental and vision services. One of my favorite services is the minor home modification because it provides safety to them. So we do ramps if they have a wheelchair and they need a ramp. We provide minor home modifications to the bathroom, making it accessible, walk-in shower with grab bars for their safety. We also provide home delivery meals and the respite services, which I think is very important. The respite services are for the family members. So let's say that you take care of a mom or dad or grandpa, grandma 24/7, still you are gonna get tired and overwhelmed. So respite services will give you a break. So someone else with experience will take care of your family member, but you can take a break. Maybe you need to take a trip. Maybe you just need to get away for a little bit. Or maybe you had to go somewhere out of town because of a funeral or something. So respite services are for that. We also provide what we call protective supervision for those members that have a cognitive disability like Alzheimer's or dementia. They cannot be left alone. So a protective supervision person will be with them when you get home. So to make sure that they are safe. We provide all these services after we assess them. So we used to go to the patient's homes and assess them for 2 or 3 hours to make sure we kind of know what the member needed. And then we will work with the contractors and providers and doctors, of course, doctor's orders, to get all the services they may need. COVID-19 affected us. It changed our protocols, but we adapted. We always adapt to change, and that's how we survive. So we work with the Texas Department of Health and Human Services, and they allow us to do Zoom meetings. As you know, a face-to-face assessment is really important because as a nurse, you can see the whole thing going on with your patient. By phone, it's very limited. Zoom was really, really helpful for us. So we could see the patient, they could show us in the camera their home to see if, for example, the door frames on their home were not wide enough for the wheelchair or walker to pass in. We could make them wider. It was a little challenging because we have a lot of elderly and they're not into technology sometimes. Some of them are. So we will contact the family members, providers, caregivers, neighbors, so that they could help them set up an email and the camera for the Zoom meeting so that we can continue evaluating and continue providing the services they needed, no matter if we were not able to see them one-to-one in person, which I thought that was very, very helpful. I learned a lot during this work because you need to know what type of insurance the member has. Sometimes they have Medicare and Medicaid. Sometimes they only have Medicaid. And that varies on what is supplied. Sometimes Medicare supplies one thing and Medicaid the other one, or vice versa. So we need to know all the insurance rules and regulations, which are a lot, to be able to help them properly and have them obtain the service or equipment they needed on a timely manner. These or the responsibilities we have was, make referrals if they needed, put services in place, contact agencies and doctors, and assess them, as like I said before. I believe Superior is a care company. We try our best to meet all the members' needs, and we work together with a lot of providers and contractors to make sure the members are safe and to try to get them on a better lifestyle. If it's not possible for them to continue living at home, we also provide the placement on a nursing home or an assisted living, because sometimes, family can no longer take care of them, or they live by themselves and they're not safe at home by themselves. And so we will set up all the paperwork needed for them to live in an assisted or a nursing home. We also provide mental health, which is really important nowadays, and other referrals needed for them. I like to mention that sometimes my friends or some people will say that I was not a true RN because I was working on an insurance company. I did my work I worked at the hospital before, and I love it, and I'm back to the hospital now, but I truly appreciate all that I learned and all that I did for all my members while I was a RN case manager at Superior Health Plan. I believe that the job that you have doesn't make you a nurse, is what you do for your patients and to make them have a better lifestyle. I truly appreciate your time. I am so excited to be here. And please let me know if you have any questions. My email is down here, dsolayakolel@satx.rr.com. You can contact me there. If you have any questions or would like to know more about this company, I worked for over 7 years. I truly appreciate your time, and please let me know if you have questions. Be safe out there. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Amazing. So we're going to have our last recorded presentation before we go into voting for our People's Choice Award winner. And our last presentation is from Elizabeth Chambi Mondara. And she submitted a creative poster, and she is presenting on Kuch Kuch Hote Hai. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for her presentation.
Good morning, everyone. This is Elizabeth Chambi. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you to the Student Enrichment Center for this opportunity. This time, I work in a field work review of the movie Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, produced by Yash Johar and directed by Karan Johar. This is a famous and popular Bollywood movie from the 90s. Let's start with the meaning of the movie's name. Kuch Kuch Hota Hai means something happens. This means something is going on in my heart. And it's basically the feeling of the beginning when we fall in love. Kuch Kuch Hota Hai is a Bollywood movie released in 1998, and it became very famous and popular in India. You can still watch this movie. It's available on Netflix. Even though it has more than 20 years, people still keep watching it. And it's also famous in other countries in Europe and South America. For example, in Spain, Argentina, Bolivia, Peru, Colombia, and also in North America. Bollywood has a big number of fans in Mexico. Okay, as we know, usually movies last 2 hours, but Bollywood movies can last until 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours. Kuch Kuch Hota Hai involves different genres, such as romance, adventure, comedy, suspense, drama, and action. You can also enjoy performance with traditional outfits. Bollywood movies have songs with choreographies. So in Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, you can see many songs where you will watch choreography. And I think it's a great way to know about Indian culture, about what Indian families think and their traditions. This movie, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, has 3 superstars: Shah Rukh Khan, Kayum Mukherjee, and Rani Mukherjee. All 3, they're until now they're superstars in India. The story is about friendship, love, and loyalty. And the characters experience a lot of obstacles and the most difficult ones in life. For example, the loss of a loved one, having to raise a child on your own, and having to live away from your family for many years. But the most important in this movie is that at the end, love will win, and love lasts until the end, right? It's a classic movie, and I invite you to get to know a little bit more about the Indian culture in a way that you can have entertainment. And also, I think it's important to know others' culture because it's important to understand and respect others' culture. Okay, purpose. This project has the purpose to share Indian culture to others who may not know, or maybe they didn't hear about the Indian culture. And it's true, yeah, that we won't be able to know everything about the Indian culture, especially because India is a huge, diverse country. But it's a good start, I think, to get to know, to get some knowledge about this amazing country. We do also have a big Indian community in San Antonio. So I wanted to spread diversity, and this is an opportunity to share others' culture in a fun way, like watching a movie. Materials. The film used incredible outfits that are outstanding. They are all traditional outfits, and they are very colorful. They are very beautiful. They're fancy. They also had a lot of musicals where you can watch amazing choreographies. I do have to mention that the contexts are wonderful, wonderful. We do see many landscapes which are very relaxing. They're very beautiful. And the music is very important in Indian films in Bollywood. And you will watch songs in every movie. And I think that this is the reason why Bollywood movies are very successful. That people still like it. People they like seeing the characters singing and dancing. Bollywood is such a big entertainment company, and I hope you can watch this movie, Kush Kush Hota Hai. It will make you cry, you will laugh, you will fall in love with this movie. This film was made for anyone, single, couple, families, kids, and it has a very good moral. And it really does teach us about spending time with the people we love. In addition, it's also show Indian culture in a particular way with the musical and performance. And it's important to know a diverse of cultures to respect them. Thank you.
All right, that was our last presentation for our poster. I'm going to go ahead and share in the chat a survey, so those that are in attendance can vote for our People's Choice Award. So let me go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to give everyone some time to do that. So I hope you enjoyed the presentations that you viewed today. We're so appreciative of the work that our students have done to put this together in the 3 categories that we mentioned. Experience, our creative posters were amazing as well, and our research posters as well. So let me go ahead and put the link to the survey. And so everyone who's here right now can have a chance to vote on a poster that you might like. So the survey is in the chat area. Yeah. So anyone who's here can go ahead and vote, and we're voting for the People's Choice Award. I also want to give a big thank you to Lauren, who's helping us with this webinar today. A big shout out to Dr. De Los Reyes, her and Dr. Lee were sort of the brainstorming people who created this idea of this showcase to showcase all of the talent and all of the hard work really that we see our students do every day, all year, every year, in and out. And we wanted to really have an opportunity for them to present on the research that they're doing, because they're doing amazing research, present on the experiences inside on campus and outside in the community, because we know that they're learning so much and they're developing both professionally and personally, and then also the creative talents of our students, because there's some creative artwork and film work that they put together. We see it, and we hope to continue this work, right? We hope to continue to be able to showcase what our students are doing, either through co-curriculars in combination with what they're doing in the classroom, or extracurricular, what they're doing as a part of student organizations, or what they're doing to develop professionally. We do want to thank you all for attending and viewing our presentations. They're going to be live on our YouTube video, as well as on our Student Enrichment Center webpage. We're going to put the actual posters, so you'll be able to see the posters that students submitted for this competition. And we hope and we encourage you to promote this competition to your students. We're hoping to develop another one in fall 2021 and in spring as well. And we would like for you to encourage your students, or if maybe you're a student and you were thinking about submitting this year, we definitely encourage you to submit next year. We hope you have a great day, and thank you for attending. Bye, everyone.